All right. Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review, another Survivor Series review, and another voiceover review. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. My camera is messing up a little bit. It's pulling the Tongaloa right now, so I'm trying to get that fixed so that we can go back to recording as per usual, like business as usual, of course. But in the meantime, we've got the voiceover here, and and like I said, this is another Survivor Series review since we are still in the month of November. And a couple years ago, I reviewed Survivor Series 2014 as Team Cena took on Team Authority. It was like one of the first reviews I did on the channel way back when, and in that one we saw Dolph Ziggler with performance of probably the decade, one of the best Survivor Series performances ever. And so a lot of people do praise him for that, and rightfully so. But what if I told you someone else had a legendary Iron Man, and in a way, coming back from a deficit performance, and it's about 11 years earlier. Or I'm of course talking about Survivor Series 2003 as Team Austin takes on Team Bischoff. So as always, I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer, analyst, or anything like that, just a man who enjoys a good time, and I definitely had a really great time here. For the first time seeing this match in its entirety, and I am so glad I did. So, of course, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about the match. But actually, before we get to that, you may be wondering, how exactly did we get here in the first place? Well, Austin and Eric Bischoff, that being Stone Cold Steve Austin and Eric Bischoff, were co-GMs of Monday Night Raw, and Austin is up to his usual Austin shenanigans, that being causing as much chaos as possible and beating down wrestlers. But Linda McMahon put the kibosh on that, saying, hey, Austin, if you're gonna be an authority figure, you can't go putting your hands on the wrestlers. Which, to be honest, I know it's supposed to be the heel face dynamic is very much in play for Steve Austin and Eric Bischoff, but that's kind of a fair point. You know, if you're an authority figure, maybe beating down your roster isn't always the best thing, isn't necessarily the best look, but nobody tells Stone Cold Steve Austin what to do. I guess Linda didn't take the onus, the heads up from her husband that you don't tell Stone Cold Steve Austin what to do. But so this match's stipulation is that if Team Austin, I should say, wins, in which Team Austin is comprised of Shawn Michaels, Rob Van Dam, Booker T, and the Dudleys, Bo Ray and Devon. If Team Austin wins, then Austin pretty much gets to beat up whoever he wants. He doesn't have to be physically provoked. He can beat up people willy-nilly. So great. But if Team Bischoff won, that being Chris Jericho, Christian, Randy Orton, Scott Steiner, and Mark Henry, he then. And Austin is gone from Raw. Now, they say Austin is gone from Raw, stepping down as GM of Monday Night Raw, but they pretty much treat it like Austin will be gone from WWE. That's kind of, now that I know it's not exactly true as per the stipulation, but I guess it adds more of that intrigue and adds a bit more of that stake to the match. So starting with what I liked about the match. For starters, the action, and not too bad for the most part. And this kind of feels like a match of two halves. You kind of start off with the usual face versus heel. This very much is like face versus heel in terms of dynamics. So, that kind of it kind of permeates throughout the match. You have some fun moments, kind of all the guys doing what they do best. Sans Shawn Michaels, who isn't tagged in yet, but he'll definitely be important later on. But the guys doing their thing, nothing super duper crazy, but just some decent little action to start off with. It's mostly everybody gets some time to shine, and we'll kind of get to that mostly part later on. But everybody does what they need to do for the most part. But then, as the match winds down, eventually everybody from Team Austin except for Shawn Michaels is left. Meanwhile, Team Bischoff has three members left on it, that being Chris Jericho, Christian, aka the CLB, as he was known at that time, and Randy Orton, and this was Evolution Randy Orton. Now, kind of surprisingly, although I guess maybe not that surprising, but kind of surprising in the fact that I forgot he was called the Legend Killer even this far back. So even back when he was still part of Evolution, and Evolution was still kinda in its infancy, for the most part, or Evolution wasn't that long yet in WWE, but even this far back, Randy Orton was still being referred to as the Legend Killer. So the Legend Killer gimmick definitely spanned back a bit further than I thought / remember. More so thought, because sadly I was too young to watch to really watch or remember Raw at this time. But so it's 3-on-1, and so Shawn Michaels trying his best to overcome the odds, and Shawn Michaels he did just that, and they get it over huge. Shawn Michaels having to fight back against the odds, being double and triple teamed. Shawn Michaels was thrown into, or catapulted, I should say, into the turnbuckle and busting himself open on the turnbuckle, and that part I put in quotation marks that you can't see. I'm pretty sure you know where this is going. It was a different time, but yeah, Shawn's still having to fight back against Jericho, Christian, and Randy Orton. First eliminating Christian after a huge sweet chin music, and Shawn losing a whole lot of blood. Then rolling up Chris Jericho to take him, and then and Shawn being blasted with the chair by Jericho. Then having to just fight off Orton as it's down to 1-on-1. So how will Shawn overcome these odds? That's the story they're really getting across in the match here. Then eventually you see Shawn and Randy going back and forth. The referee's taken out as Shawn avoids the crossbody, which, fun fact, the diving crossbody off the top rope was Randy Orton's OG, or kind of OG finisher, or kind of between the overdrive and the RKO, although he does hit the RKO in this match on RVD. But he takes out the referee, and Eric Bischoff comes in trying to run interference. Austin fights him off. Eric does kick Shawn, then Austin fights him off and beats down Eric Bischoff. And while the referee's down and while Austin's distracted, in comes Batista, nailing the Batista bomb on Shawn. So Shawn, and that's how Randy gets the win, and that's how Randy wins it for Team Bischoff. So Austin then realizes what's going on and comes back. Heck, he's beating down Eric Bischoff on the ramp and all the way towards the entranceway. But sadly, by then it's too late. And afterwards, the mood in the crowd feels like very much doom and gloom afterwards, and they definitely sell it well. Like the weight of what's going on definitely echoes throughout the crowd. How that Austin's forced to step down as Raw co-GM and walk away from Raw, and I guess by proxy WWE. That's kind of how they're putting it over here. Shawn still feels sad, but Austin consoles him. Gives a little speech afterwards saying, his career didn't end the way he would like it, but he's glad his career started and ended in Dallas, which they are in, which also helps further explain how Shawn and Austin get their respective pops. Although, let's be honest, it's Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin, they were going to get those pops either way. But But then Jonathan Coachman comes out singing "Nah, hey, goodbye," and then Coachman kind of gloats. So Austin beats him and his security guards down. Wonder which one of those security guards became a world champion in WWE, or perhaps elsewhere, because we know how that goes. It was nobody I could recognize from there, but nevertheless, Austin does pose and essentially sends the crowd home happy. It's not the main event, but they do get the happy feeling after Austin gives his essentially retirement speech. Now, Austin wouldn't be gone permanently, of course. He would show up from time to time afterwards, and really he wasn't co-GM anymore, and wasn't really a mainstay of Raw as much, but he still would show up from time to time. But yeah, and that's how the match ended. So that being said, I think all those elements really help elevate the match and have Shawn's Iron Man performance, that feeling of doom and gloom, but Austin still giving his speech, kind of addressing the crowd. I think really helps sell the moment, really helps elevate things even further. Her in the end there, and Steve Austin, you kind of give him a moment to send the crowd home happy, pretty much doing what he had done pretty much throughout the bulk of his career, that being, bucking against authority, taking out an authority figure in the form of Jonathan Coachman. And so Austin hits that ball, or I should say, Austin gets to have that as he essentially rides off into the sunset, and so a really great match in that regard, especially once Shawn gives his Iron Man performance there. In terms of what I didn't quite like as much about the match, for starters, why was Scott Steiner the first to go? Like admittedly, on the team, maybe Steiner perhaps is the most expendable. Chris Jericho and Christian were kind of getting a push. I believe, were tag team champions at this point. But and Randy Orton was in Evolution, and Mark Henry is, Mark Henry. So I guess if anyone had to go with Scott Steiner, but it also goes to show, with Scott Steiner being eliminated so early in the match, I guess just goes to show what the company felt about Scott Steiner at this point. Sadly, now granted, nowadays the Steiners are looked on more respectably in WWE. They have the Legends contract, they're in the Hall of Fame, etc. But yeah, otherwise, as you forget how bad Scott Steiner's booking in the Ruthless Aggression era was. But the other thing is that the match does feel a bit bottom heavy. Like the opening stuff, like the stuff before Shawn is the last one standing, is fine, but I think Shawn, I think it's like good action and everything, but Shawn's Iron Man performance and him doing what he needs to do, that later part of the match, is really where the match shines. Like it's definitely not a bad match. I definitely recommend it, but I think it's very much back end heavy. Like that's the part that a lot of people came for. The opening stuff of is fine. I would say, hey, not the greatest thing ever, but the back part is really where the match shines, in my opinion. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Man, even in voiceover, I can't speak. Although I'm keeping it in. We're doing it live, Bill O'Reilly style. But we're live, pal, similar to Psycho Sid. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications. Every time I upload a video, so you get to see it as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the match, my review of the match. You like the match, you like my review of the match. Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.